People keep asking me, Crandall, when are you coming back to YouTube? When is Armchair Directors coming back to YouTube? Are you back? Are you guys back? And you know what? I haven't really had time to think about it. But yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. John Wick Chapter 2. Now this is one of my favorite movies of 2017. I absolutely loved the first John Wick. I loved it because it was a simple story of revenge with a clear A to B plot. We didn't have a lot of side tangents. It got us emotionally invested immediately with the death of John Wick's dog, and then just delivered some stunning gung-fu action. Now, John Wick 2 picks up exactly where John Wick left off, with John Wick recovering his car from the brother and uncle of his victims from John Wick 1. And it opens with a stunning action scene where John Wick takes on a whole warehouse full of shitheads and just proves why he is the boogeyman. And I loved the action, the hard-hittingness of just cars smashing together and John Wick fighting guys in a wet warehouse, and the moment where he gets knocked out of a car, cars are kind of John Wick's kryptonite, was just a great way to start this movie. And it starts with a bang, with a nice action scene, and then we get the title sequence, John Wick Chapter 2, and that's where Chapter 2 actually really starts, because the before credit sequence is kind of the closing out of the first John Wick, ending that whole chapter with that family of crime bosses and what happened to them, and starting anew. The main story is that Santino D'Antonio comes to John Wick and says, "John, years ago you gave me a marker. I helped you do something on that impossible evening where you freed yourself from this life. Now that you are back, I'm cashing in this marker, and I want you to kill my sister, Gianna D'Antonio, for me." And John Wick says, "I can't do it. I'm retired. I'm not doing it. I don't know what you heard, but I'm out." And of course, Santino says, "You can't be out, come back, and then just be out again. It doesn't work like that." So he blows up John Wick's house and says, "You have to do this." So then John Wick, of course, goes on a mission to Rome to kill the sister of the guy who had the marker, and hopefully get away scot-free. Which, of course, being John Wick, we know it's not going to be that easy. Gonna have some spoilers in here now, because hopefully you've had a chance to see this movie. If you haven't, just know, in terms of action, it's on a par, almost, maybe even better than the first one in terms of just the gun-fu, the imaginative visuals, and the fast, hard-hitting action. In terms of overall story, I'd place it a notch below John Wick 1, only because it's a little bit more drawn out, a little bit more convoluted than just the pure simplicity of the revenge in John Wick. When John Wick goes to Rome, I like that he plans ahead, and we see a lot more of the world of the Continental, and I love that. This world where there are so many hitmen, and they're all working for gold coins, but they have a good ethical code where nobody can be killed on the Continental grounds while you're working. I found all that stuff intriguing, and having Ian McShane back, he's so great, and Lance Reddick, and then going to the Rome branch and getting scenes with the sommelier, Peter Serafinowicz, that stuff was all interesting. Seeing John Wick's tailor, I loved the expansion of the world. It's all fantastic. Then we get into the scene where he goes to kill Gianna, and I really liked the look of it. But this sequence overall, the lead up to the death, is the slowest part of John Wick Chapter 2 for me. I appreciate that we get to know a bit more about John and the way that he worked, in that he reveals himself to her before he has to do the deed, tells her why he is there to kill her, that it was her brother who demanded it, and then she sort of takes her own life, and then John Wick just finishes the job and gets out of there. But that scene goes on, and it's not necessarily a bad scene. It's interesting character development, and we get a sense of the world, but it drags the movie down a little bit. And I almost would have preferred him to just sort of whack her real quick and get out of there. And I'm not a big fan of this rock concert coronation thing that's going on. But then we get the fantastic action scene where John Wick is trying to escape through the crowd and he's shooting a bunch of guys. And of course the monochromatic stylistic action of the catacomb scene where Ruby Rose and her henchmen come after John Wick for the first time is just masterful editing, quick cuts. Keanu kicks so much ass. And of course we get another great moment where we see some poor bastard who gets pinned down by John Wick as he reloads and then kills him. But I just love that action, and it's lit in such a way that it's visually interesting and it's fast moving and it's fun. Then of course John Wick and Common have an extended fight, and that's another moment that I think we could have cut that fight to them falling down the stairs, fighting for like 30 seconds, then crashing through the window, instead of falling down the stairs, fighting for 4 minutes, and then crashing through the window. So it's just a lot of small moments that I would have trimmed a little bit here or there to keep John Wick Chapter 2 a little bit more fast-paced. But don't get me wrong, I never really found the movie boring. I just found it, in comparison to John Wick 1, a little bit slower, a little bit more extended action, and sometimes they didn't need the extension. One of the best sequences of the movie, hands down, is the Reflection of the Soul finale, where director Chad Stahelski just does a great job as we go through this twisty-turny hall of mirrors. And we've seen lots of movies that have a funhouse mirror finale, but this one's executed with such style and with such interesting visuals, with the mirrored doors opening and closing and people coming and going and lots of gun fu and stabbing, that I thought it felt fresh. Even if it's something we actually have seen in movies like this a few times, it just felt energetic and alive and brutal. And I love, in the beginning of that art gallery finale, a lot of the walls are white, so when John Wick only has 7 bullets to utilize and has to keep taking guns from other people, we see the carnage on these white walls, and that was a stroke of genius. I loved the cameo of Lawrence Fishburne as the guy who runs this cabal of homeless people, homeless hitmen, who are just faking to be homeless, was genius. And having him and Keanu together, even for just 2 scenes, was a lot of fun. And he gets that great line in this movie: "Would somebody please get this man a gun?" And hell yeah, somebody get this man a gun. I just love the way that this movie moves. I love when the contract goes out on Wick and we see how a contract goes out on people, that whole operator system, and then having him just be randomly attacked by seemingly normal people was very entertaining. Seeing the pencil gag finally in one of the movies was great, and he stabs a lot of people in this movie and shoots a lot of people. I really thought that the fights between him and Common and him and Ruby Rose were both good, but those 2 final fights between each of them are kind of so similar that I wish that Ruby Rose had gone out in a little bit of a different manner. But I really thought she was a kick-ass henchman, and I loved that she was deaf. I thought that was really interesting spin on it. I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was quite surprised when, of course, John Wick breaks the rules of the Continental, and now he is excommunicado, setting up John Wick Chapter 3, John Wick versus the world. I can't wait. I just thought this movie was fun and exciting and delivered everything I wanted in a big action picture with style. Style to burn. And Keanu, at 50 plus years of age, is still kicking ass, is still one of the gun fu kings. And man, for him to have another franchise that he is carrying and really making into something special is incredible. And the dude just is game for everything, and that's what I love about him and I love about John Wick. So did you like John Wick Chapter 2 as much as I did? Did you like it as much as the first one? Let me know, hit the comments, like the video, don't forget to hit subscribe, and thanks a lot for watching.